Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of The Future of Luxury. Today, we have Natalia Jaramillo with us. She's a leader, thinker. She's redefined what luxury means in practice. Based in Dubai, Natalia has built a philosophy she calls Humanistic Luxury, where brands are not just about products, but about people, heritage, and human connection. With over 15 years across hospitality, retail, and corporate operations, she's advised and trained thousands of professionals in customer experience and luxury selling. Through her boutique firm and her role as chair of the CXPA Middle East Council, she helps brands evolve from being robotic and predictable to becoming truly human, authentic, and transformative. Her perspective is unique because it shifts luxury away from transactions and status and towards emotion, empathy, and empowerment. I'm excited to explore with her what the future of desire looks like when people, not products, are at its heart. Welcome, Natalia.
Thank you very much, Richa. I'm very excited to be here today talking to you. Thank you.
Same here. The pleasure is all mine. So let's get right into it. Beginning with my first question. So you've built your philosophy around humanistic luxury. How does putting people at the center stage the way desire is created in luxury?
Well, as you said just a second ago, when we put people instead of products at the center, then desire is not really about owning, but
Yeah.
it's about belonging.
Yes.
And it's about that feeling, it's about that sensation of becoming something, right? Humanistic luxury at its core actually understands that that desire is created not through the object itself, but through the meaning that it awakens in the people, right? How it affects or impacts their identity, how it affects or impacts their emotions, probably also the how the heritage also enters and is part of that. So desire shifts from that concept of accumulation, but it moves more to a transformation. So clients could probably move from look at what I have, and they can maybe start thinking of this is who I am when I
Right.
engage, right, with you as a brand or with people around. So putting the client at the center actually changes the way we conceive the business as a whole, because it changes the way we strategize, it changes the way we design the experiences, it changes the way we hire, it changes the way we train, it changes the way we interact with our clients, because it actually comes from a different perspective and a different objective.
Right. So, I mean, from what you've said and what I've gathered is you're trying to say that, we need to think in a way that this brand or this product is going to become a part of the client's life or client's perspective of luxury. So that is how we should look at it from a brand point of view and include their desires or their transformation in mind before we speak to them as a brand. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the power that the brand has beyond the product, because the brand
Right.
also has uh, an ideology. The brand
Right.
has certain values. The brand has certain things they stand for.
Right.
And the client also buys that. And that is part of the what the client is aiming for. It's not
Yeah.
only about the acquisition of the product, it's also about entering into that universe of that the brand is proposing,
Yeah.
is that affiliation with what the brand is proposing, is that sense of that brand is how I am, or that brand
Yes.
is how I want to be. And
Yes.
this level of emotion behind the purchase or the
The feeling
relationship,
of
as I rather call
belonging.
it, that sense of belonging is there
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, luxury often prides itself on heritage and craft. Do you see
Yeah.
heritage as a way of deepening human connection, or does it sometimes risk becoming exclusionary?
I think we cannot ignore that luxury by nature is exclusionary,
Yeah.
but heritage is also very powerful because it's lived, and hopefully it should be lived through connection, right?
Mm.
When we honor the artisans, the history, the values that can unite people across generations. I think that's something very powerful that luxury does. But luxury is exclusionary because rarity, time, the craft, all that imposes limits,
Right.
right? And a handmade product that can maybe take, I don't know, 400 hours or 100 hours of to be made of that savoir faire, I mean, simply cannot be producing 100,000 units,
Yeah.
right? So still there is that point, and that preservation of the craft depends also on people who value and understand its meaning. So luxury really enters in that universe there. The key, I feel, is somehow that heritage should not be like a wall that separates, but it's a bridge that actually kind of invites and connects people, and so that they can feel they're part of something larger there, right? When a customer feels the heritage, for example, they can honor also their story. They can see how their story links with those values. They can see how who they are makes sense there, how that brand represents them, how that also elevates them.
Yeah.
Because when you use some products that are extremely valuable, that elevates the sense of self as
Right.
well, because
Right.
you're using something that is extremely unique, authentic, and I guess more human because somebody really took the time to do it. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
luxury also preserves a lot of craft and heritage, but it also preserves values, and I think that's even more important.
Yeah. I mean, the most interesting part of your answer was, heritage not being a wall, but being a bridge. You rightly said that because I feel when more people get connected to the brand, I think they are the ones, taking that heritage forward through their purchases, bringing that rarity that is there in the heritage of the brand, with them and passing them on as heirloom pieces or, things like that to just take forward the legacy of the brands. It's really interesting.
Correct.
So, I mean, according to you, like, you've worked across hospitality and retail. Where do you think the most authentic expressions of desire are found in products or in experiences?
I think probably the concept of desire is born in experiences and materialized in products. I think it's kind
Okay.
of together. It cannot be one
Yeah.
without the other. A product without an experience is just an object, just like
Yeah.
an experience without kind of the depth that is behind it is just entertainment. It's just
Hmm.
entertainment. Like, okay,
Hmm.
it's nice, thanks. But it doesn't really kind of impact. I think that true desire happens in that intersection. For
Right.
example, when you are having dinner in a restaurant, or you're going to a boutique, or you are having a conversation with that advisor, and you all of a sudden feel seen. You feel that they know you, that you're valued, that you are connected with the brand, that the brand actually recognizes you. I think
Yeah.
that emotional imprint is what makes the products really irresistible. Think about if you go to a store and you are not receiving a great treatment, you are going through the desire to buy a product,
Hmm.
okay? And
Hmm.
that is anyhow within you, that's in you. But if
Right.
you go there and the experience isn't great,
Yeah.
you were also desiring the
Yes.
experience. You were not only
Yeah.
desiring the acquisition, you
Yeah.
desired how it feels to be in the store, how it feels to be served in that way, how it feels to be in that universe of the brand. And if the brand is not able to do that,
Hmm.
it disconnects. So I think
Yeah.
the desire is in both, because
Yeah.
people desires the product as much as the feeling of being part of it, of the brand, and being recognized and seen by the brand.
Yeah, right. I mean, you remind me of an example of what my professor told me. Her family is from China, and her mother is one of the VICs in, global luxury brands. She shops a lot. So at one point, when my professor herself, she went to a store of a luxury brand without her mother. She wasn't, given the desired treatment or the kind of experience that she was expecting. And when, the people at the boutique got to know that she's the daughter of one of their VICs, They were really sorry about how the treatment happened, and how her experience was not that great. But by that time, I think they lost a important customer for themselves. So I really can connect to what you said, that it's not just the desire or the instinct to buy or to acquire a product, but also the kind of treatment or the environment, or the hospitality that you're given at the boutique, or at,
100.
not even at the boutique, like at different points of contact, through different touch points. So it's completely true that one cannot survive without the other, and with product, I think it's very important to offer the experience as well.
As
So
you're saying, like I feel that anyhow, every luxury business is in the hospitality business, and I think this is
yeah,
something brands need to really understand. They're not in the retail industry. Like if you're in luxury, you are in hospitality anyway,
yeah,
because that is embedded in the way they serve. So it's
yeah.
very important.
It's so true. So, I mean, many brands have like strong visions, but fall fought in execution. From your work, what operational details most strongly influence whether a consumer feels desire or indifference?
I think many things usually go wrong, and it's usually those items that we consider the invisible ones.
Mm.
Yeah, like timing, like
Mm.
anticipation,
Right,
silence, personalization, coherence.
right.
These are the things when usually brands are falling short, and these happen across all the touch points. So these are micro moments that
Yeah.
are the difference between being connected with the brand versus being indifferent with the brand. And I think that, well, I often say this and I keep repeating myself every time because this is like my kind of mission,
Hmm.
but luxury really dies in the operation. Like the luxury in the paper is always incredible. Like when you go to the brands and you see their websites, their storytelling, the craft, all of that, it's beautiful. Like when you go to their YouTube channels, it's incredible. Like
Yeah.
I love it. I really love it. But then you
Yeah.
go to the stores and there is a very different reality there, right? So without like this vision of the brand and this operational, no, this strategy of the brand and this world of the brand, without the operational excellence, is just a really very beautiful poetic PowerPoint. Like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
can I tell you? The execution,
Yes.
how we do things in the store or in the hotel or in the restaurant or in the airplane or anywhere, it doesn't really matter. How we answer, how we co-create, how we are able to actually co-create, how we deliver on the promise, all of that is what either builds on this brand aura and desire and aspiration connection, or is what destroys it completely, because this is what the client interacts with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And not being able to deliver the promise is definitely a no-no for a luxury brand. I mean, that is something that a luxury brand actually promises to deliver. And if they're not able to, execute that in, like you said, in micro moments, I mean, it's just a matter of a few seconds that, you gain or you lose a client. And if you're able to make business in those, I feel that's the best part about you then. I mean, and it requires a lot of training, I feel. It requires, feeling that sense of accountability within your boutique staff, or, people who are there at different touch points across the brand. So, yeah, I mean, those micro moments are the major things that you need to handle as a luxury brand. So, like, we just talked about training. You've trained around 10,000 professionals, which is, commendable. Like, it's an amazing thing that you've done. So, do you think desire can be taught, or is it something that, has to come instinctively and, felt and lived within the culture of a brand?
Well, desire is not necessarily a script, but it can be taught as a mindset. Like people can
Right,
be trained to actually understand human emotion. People can be trained to anticipate needs. People can be trained to connect in a meaningful way.
right.
But is not only about the training, it's also about the brand culture. Sometimes the culture of the company doesn't allow a space for intuition, doesn't
Yeah,
allow a space for that humanity, and no amount of training will change that. So desire, in fact, is something that must be mostly lived. And I think is that understanding that employees also need to understand in which business are they need to
yeah,
know that what they explain the example I gave you before, like if I work in a jewelry brand which is very iconic, I know that people are coming with certain idea in the mind, and I
yeah,
need to understand that it's on me to be able to deliver it.
yes,
As an employee there, as a colleague there, I need to be able to know that my role goes beyond the sell or beyond the actual service. My role is actually to deliver on this idea and respect it and honor it and make sure that we are like a brand ally for the
yeah,
brand and not a
yeah,
destroyer of the brand. And
right,
employees need to also feel that desire to serve. They need to
yeah,
feel that desire to connect, to elevate. They need to, the desire is not only for the client, it's also for the people inside. So the culture needs to empower it. The
right,
training needs to be able to be transformational for the people that are delivering it as well. So luxury is transformation, but it's not only transformation for the guest or for the client, it's also transformation for the people delivering it every
yeah,
day.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this is where desire is not a philosophy, but it's a mindset that it carries in the entire culture.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, a brand can create products, but ultimately, you need to imbibe that sense, that, brand ideology into your professionals, because they are the people going to sell the product. So if they are not, convinced with the idea of the brand, or with its culture or heritage, or, legacy that it has built upon the years, I think they will not be able to transform that story, or craftsmanship, from the product to the final sale that they're going to do. So, that feeling of, to understand the human connection and the body language of the client, what emotions are associated with this purchase, is it, I mean, generally people buy, like you mentioned, if you're buying a ring, it's definitely for a special occasion. And if you're not able to associate yourself and become a bridge between the brand and the client's emotions or expectations, I think it is going to create that lag between, that dissociation is going to happen if we are not able to convince them. So yeah, I
I
mean,
think more than convincing is you're not able to connect with them. And I
yeah,
think
yeah,
this
yeah,
is, yeah, you're totally right.
yeah. Definitely. And, so, like these days, luxury has become very predictable. We've seen, similar campaigns happening with multiple brands these days. There is, overwhelming amount of information that is coming, on the internet, on social media, everywhere. And most of the brands look more or less similar. So how do you help brands avoid blending in, and instead of, cultivating a desire that feels original, human, and lasting? Because to differentiate yourself in such a, crowded or saturated market, it is becoming difficult by the day, because everyone wants to just follow the trends and, blend in. So that factor of standing out, which should be there within a luxury brand, I think it is getting lost somewhere. So what are your thoughts on it?
100%. Something that humanistic luxury helps with and does is it helps brands rediscover their voice. It
Hmm.
helps brands rediscover their truth, have the courage to lead with it, have the courage to present it again, to bring it again. That originality really doesn't come from louder campaigns or from trends or from very shiny things and so on, but it comes from that coherence, that purpose, that emotional resonance that you are able to evoke in the people, right? So
Yeah.
when brands dare again to align with who they are and act how they should act and be actually like how we like to say kind of walking the talk,
Yeah.
then all of that, the brand positioning changes again, and it's really not about that noisy component of marketing or social media and so on, but it's more about that intimacy that is built through the brand. So if you actually think about it, and if you go and analyze the luxury brands one by one, they're super different.
Yeah.
And even though they might be in jewelry or in watches or in fashion or in whichever industry or line they are super different. But because they kind of forgot who they were, what they stand for, then everything started falling apart because now there is no differentiation between them.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to know what makes you different if you are not able to communicate your values, what you stand for, what is your ideology, what is really what moves you as a brand, and how that brand enters in the client's life and becomes part of their story too. And but if you're just selling products, then you're being compared on design, you're being
Yeah.
compared sometimes even on price, and you're going to the wrong target audience anyway. So I feel what we do is that we want to bring them back to the origin and
Mm.
start designing and strategizing from there on. So we
Yeah.
take the brand narrative, we take the brand values, we take everything, and we start creating the new company culture that it's lived through actual behaviors, actual actions that will differentiate how the brand behaves internally. Then we start crafting the journeys in the operation and every single touch point, but it has all the logic of the brand. It's not a
Right.
it's not a transactional journey. It's a very unique, authentic, emotional journey where we use the brand identity and we embed it throughout and see how we can connect and how this enters in the life of the clients and the customers and the guest or
Yeah.
the problem is that brands are doing all the processes are transactions. So they
Mm-hmm.
disconnect the brand narrative from the actual process because they make it very transactional.
Yeah.
Forgetting that is in here, that is where they are different, is what
Yeah.
they're special, is what makes them unique.
Yeah.
So if we some clients ask me, okay, but if you have also worked with this brand, you're not going to give us the same ideas.
Yeah.
It cannot be the same ideas because you are not the same brand. You are not the same. You don't have the same history, the same values, the same ideology. It's completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we will approach the entire experience in a very different way because you are not the other brand, and that already makes you very different. So
Mm.
it's in that way that we can keep ourselves different. And obviously, luxury should never fall trends, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just thought of when you were speaking about this, I got reminded of latest campaign that Bottega Veneta did, without the logos, with the the gesture, the hand gestures that they used in their campaign, marking a milestone anniversary for the Intrachato that they have. So, I mean, one brand without any logos, just with different brand codes that they have, I think they've done an amazing job with their campaigns. It's quiet. It's literally quiet luxury. And you don't have to speak. The brand will speak for itself. So I think that is more important to be able to stand out in this, overload of information in today's time.
Yes, and how they bring that campaign to the store
Yeah,
and
yeah,
how
yeah.
it is
And I
actually
I
lived
really
in the
feel a lot
store.
of people were excited about it and they felt connected to the brand all over again because Intrachato is something that Bottega Veneta is known for. And when you bring out a product with such a con such a campaign that connects with your audience directly, I think you've done your part, and that's what will live on, I feel. So yeah,
100%.
and you've talked about luxury being a transformative force. So do you believe consumers are beginning to desire transformation itself, whether through wellness or identity or belonging, or more than traditional signals like rarity or status?
No, absolutely. I think today's clients don't just want to acquire.
Hmm.
products. They
Yeah.
want to evolve, they want to experience things, and experience by definition is something that are emotional, that are you consume through your senses, and they start shifting chemically, biologically, many things inside you. And this is the power of experience, that it really is not only something that is very philosophical, but is also something very biological, and it really changes things within you, and you interpret it in different ways, and people crave for that. And right now everybody wants to evolve, wants to be better, wants to see themselves better, wants to take care of themselves, not only physically but emotionally, intellectually. And luxury has that power. And luxury, when I say transformation, a lot of people always go like, oh yeah, but I mean, this is not a
Hmm.
wellness retreat, or the
Yeah.
transformation is not necessarily always on that path. You can transform a moment for a person. You can transform their vision of self. You can make them laugh. It can be funny. It can be
Yeah.
intellectually motivating, inspiring, igniting. I mean, there are many emotions that are there. You can even evoke awe, nostalgia. I mean, like,
Yeah.
emotions are infinite. It's not always
Right.
that we want to make the clients cry, or always want to be very romantic. There are different emotions that you can bring, that depending on the setting you can bring there. But yes, clients are craving for that. Luxury right now not only signals like that status and all of that, but it also is able to transform how you feel, how you think, how you behave. It sometimes it's just a thought of changing something in even the way you perceive the world, or the way you think about something, or the way you are. I mean, there are many levels of transformation. Also, how you connect with people, how you connect with yourself. I mean, there are many elements in this area here, and it's not only about wellness, and it's not only about making it a coaching session.
Yeah.
There are many ways, and it can be fun, it can be interesting. It depends on the brand style. You look at Hermes, they have a very playful personality, and they do a lot of very cool in the, activations, experiences that connect and evoke a lot of emotions, but that they evoke emotions of playfulness, of
Yeah.
this childlike moment, and also a lot of awe, a lot of connection with heritage. I mean, there are many elements that come in the brand, but depends on what the brand personality is. That's why it's not always the same for every brand. And these values as well of, I don't know, identity, belonging, and you can belong to different types of crowds. And sometimes just belonging to the crowd where you feel that you share similar things with, similar likes as well, or similar taste, hobbies. I mean, all of that is part of the aura of luxury, and build on what true luxury it really is today. That is not only bag, watch, shoes, but is how these items and this brand can transform me, and how I feel when I'm wearing them. I
Yeah.
mean, no, I heard this when I was in university as well, and one of the teachers said that there is the woman who is walking with a normal bag, and then there is a woman walking with a Chanel bag, and they're not walking in the same way.
Yeah.
And it's just the way the bag totally changed your perception of self. And I think this is something that luxury does, which is amazing. Gives a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you took me in a roller coaster of emotions, so many emotions you mentioned in the same statement. And I think you rightly said the way you carry a product, if it's a Chanel bag, you'll be a changed person. It actually transforms your confidence, the way you walk, the way you talk to people. I think it's way different from just carrying a normal handbag and a Chanel handbag. Definitely. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, AI and automation and these things. So, I mean, how do you ensure in these times that, human touch remains at the core of luxury desire?
Because luxury anyway stands on emotions at its core, and luxury is emotional at its core. It's
Yeah.
present in decision making, is present in how people interact with your brand, it's present in how they build loyalty, it's present on everything. And emotions mostly can only be driven by people, as in it's very hard that a machine can really, really penetrate you in the way that
Mm.
a person can.
Yeah.
So what we try to do in humanistic luxury is not to ignore technology, but is to be able to use technology where it's invisible,
Yeah,
backstage, where it can support you, where it
right.
can actually help you know your clients better, understand behavior patterns, record data, make sure you don't forget anything, make
Yeah,
sure they remind you at the right time the things, they can give you ideas. Technology can do wonders in luxury, really, but is I think it really performs better when it's a support for the service, when it's a support for the experience. So that it still enables people to shine on stage and the human connection remains, but it also enables people to do their job better. They can do their job faster. They can make sure they don't forget things. They can make sure they're still present. They can make sure they communicate in the right tone. They can make sure that there's many things. So I think that at the end, automation is not necessarily a concept of automation, but I think is more of support. And I think we should
yeah,
look at it as support. I mean, there is so much an algorithm can do. And I think
yeah.
in luxury, sometimes it falls short. I mean, that's why usually there is no bot, 100% bot in luxury. If you are in a chat, there is a human there. Maybe at the beginning you get a bot, but it's a hybrid to people
Exactly.
because people eventually want to speak with somebody. Also, the
Yeah,
type of questions that arise in the luxury field are very nuanced, and it's
yeah.
very hard to educate a machine to all of these nuances of people,
Mm.
because people, when they're interacting with luxury, they're not interacting in a standardized manner.
Yeah,
They interact in a very genuine manner, very
yeah,
personal manner, and a bot always falls short here.
yeah.
You can educate a bot, for example, for a client to ask you, what is the weather in that location, or what kind of clothes should I bring,
Yeah,
or
it
many
can be
things,
a
or
factual thing,
recommend
but
me,
emotional
recommend me Chinese
aspects. Yeah.
restaurants. Yeah, but if you ask, recommend me a nice restaurant,
Hmm.
what is nice for
Exactly.
me?
Yeah.
So
The
this
bot
is
can't
where
understand that. Definitely not. Yeah.
So there are few things that you only gather when you understand the person, when
Hmm.
you feel the client in front of you, and then you understand what nice could mean for them, and then that can be a conversation. But it's not something a machine can always do, and I think we fail sometimes. And really, if we go just by basic things, people in luxury don't want to self-service, don't want self-service.
Exactly.
They
I mean,
want
if
to
they
be
want
served.
self-service, they could have gone to some other
Yeah,
retail outlet.
or
Yeah,
if
not
the
to a,
technology is great,
yeah,
fine. But
yeah.
mostly sometimes the technologies aren't there that great.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's better to have a person,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it
also
is
heard
definitely
something.
a facilitator, not something that can, completely take away the human element from luxury.
You cannot replace it 100%. And I was in a conference the other day and I stole this from one guy and I told him, I'm going to steal this from you. He said that you can automate the expected, but you need to humanize the unexpected.
Wow. I mean,
And I think
it
this is
just summarizes everything in a
fundamental
single
here.
line. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, and he said that, and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect," because
yeah.
it's so true. And I think
Yeah,
luxury is so unexpected that that's why it needs to remain quite human.
yeah, yeah. True. I mean, so it's been an amazing podcast today, understanding different nitty-gritties of emotion, how you connect them with luxury and how, AI can never replace that. And desire as a mindset can definitely be imbibed in people, but it is definitely not something that you can train someone to do if you're not convinced enough, if you don't know the story. I think it's you've overall talked about what humanistic luxury is in its true sense. So thank you very much. And like before we close, I just wanted to ask you one question. If you had to define desire in one word, what would you use?
Connection.
Amazing. I think
I like
this is pretty
I
much
like to
it.
think that luxury is more about connection and less about this, but I relate more to connection. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Natalia, for your time here. And so, everyone, let's wrap up this episode and do look forward to the upcoming episode of The Future of Luxury. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richa, for having me here. And I love the discussion. It was very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.